I was babysitting when someone tried to break in, and the kid I was watching saved my life. I was 16 and babysitting for this rich family in the middle of nowhere because I desperately needed money for a car. The house was one of those massive modern places with too many windows and weird angles, creepy as hell at night. The parents said they'd be home by 10 p.m. It was midnight and they still weren't back. The kid, Mason, was 10 and refusing to go to sleep. He kept running around the house, turning lights on and off, and I was getting annoyed because I just wanted to sit on my phone and wait for his parents to come home. At one point, he pressed his face against the living room window and stared out into the darkness. "I don't like it when the motion lights turn on and there's nothing there," he said, his face almost touching the glass. I rolled my eyes. "Mason, that's enough. Go to bed. I'm serious," he said. "It means something's out there that knows when to hide." "Well, I don't see anything out there, so let's go. Upstairs, now." He finally went to his room, but I had this uneasy feeling I couldn't shake. The house was too quiet, too big, and those windows felt like they were letting anyone outside look directly in at me. At 12:30 a.m., I heard glass shatter downstairs. My whole body went cold. For a second, I thought maybe something just fell, but then I heard it. Footsteps. Heavy boots on hardwood floor. Someone was inside the house. I ran to Mason's room as quietly as I could and locked the door behind me. He was sitting up in bed, completely awake. "I told you," he whispered. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. I tried calling 911, but my hands were shaking too much to dial properly. The footsteps were coming up the stairs now, slow, deliberate, like whoever it was knew exactly where I was and wasn't in any rush. I backed up against Mason's bed. The windows were too high to jump from. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. The handle started turning. Mason leaned over and whispered, "Don't worry, I have an idea." I looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "This is not the time, Mason." The door didn't open. It was locked. But then I heard a voice from the other side. "I know you're in there." Slam! He kicked the door. The whole frame shook. Slam. Another kick. The wood started to crack. Slam. The door burst open. This huge guy stood in the doorway wearing all black, a beanie pulled low over his face. "Where's the safe?" he said. I could barely breathe. "I don't know. This is my first time here. I swear I don't know." That's when he pulled out a knife. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be," he said. He crossed the room and grabbed my phone out of my hand. Then he smashed it against the wall. The screen shattered into pieces. "Now," he said, pressing the blade against my arm. "You're going to help me look." He grabbed my other arm and dragged me out into the hallway. I felt the knife press against my lower back as we walked. "Show me every bedroom, now." Mason followed behind us, and I kept waiting for him to cry or scream, but he was just quiet, watching. I kept thinking about my mom, how she always said neighborhoods like this were supposed to be safe, how this is exactly how girls end up on true crime podcasts. I was going to die in some stranger's McMansion over a safe I didn't even know existed. The guy shoved me into the master bedroom, the knife still pressed against my back. "Check the closets, move." I opened the first closet with shaking hands. "Just close." He pushed past me and started ripping things off hangers, throwing expensive suits on the floor. That's when Mason spoke up. "I know where it is." I spun around. "Mason, don't. It's in the garage," Mason said calmly. "My dad keeps stuff in there. I can show you." The guy's eyes lit up. "Smart kid, let's go." He grabbed my arm again and we headed downstairs, the knife never leaving my back. Mason led us through the kitchen to the garage door. Mason put his hand on the handle. He looked at me, then at the guy. Then he smiled and opened the door. The biggest Rottweiler I have ever seen in my entire life came flying out of that garage. The intruder didn't even have time to scream. The dog hit him like a freight train and he went down hard, his head slamming against the floor. The knife skittered across the tile. The Rottweiler had him pinned, snarling and snapping, more aggressive than any dog I'd ever seen. Mason, completely calm, said, "Jasper, hold." The dog stopped moving but kept the guy pinned, growling low in her throat. The man was crying now, actually crying. I just stood there in shock, my back against the wall. Then I heard it, tiny squeaking sounds coming from the garage. I looked over and saw them, 4 tiny Rottweiler puppies barely able to walk, coming out of the garage toward their mother. They couldn't have been more than a week old. "Oh my god," I whispered. Mason sighed and grabbed his iPad. "I'm texting my parents. They're gonna be so mad I let Jasper out. She just had babies and she's not supposed to leave them." The guy was still whimpering. "Please, call it off. She's not an it," Mason said. And no, the parents arrived 20 minutes later with the police. Turns out Jasper had just given birth 6 days ago and they kept her in the garage because she was way too protective to be around anyone she didn't know. They just forgot to mention that to me. Mason got in zero trouble. The parents actually thanked him. I got a $500 tip and a brand new iPhone 17 Pro Max.